You're welcome to another interesting, exciting edition of the Business Leader of the Week here on Daba TV. My name is Emeka Eze, and of course, on today's edition of the Business Leader of the Week, we get to teach you very important business lessons. I'm talking about someone who has over 30 years of experience doing business and actually has his hands with the skin in the game in the business. I'm going to go for a short break, and when I come back, I'm going to bring to your screens my guest today. We're going to have a chit chat and a session to learn. Stay with me. Welcome back from that break. This is still Daba TV. My name is Emeka Eze. I'm going to be having an interesting session with a businessman here in the studio. Of course, you're watching the Business Leader of the Week, and this is Daba TV. With me in the studio is Dr. Chidi Okpaloba, who likes to call himself a passionate entrepreneur. He's done so many businesses over the years, and I wouldn't be the one to tell the stories, but I will introduce you to him officially, and then we get to share the stories. Dr. Chidi, you're welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you, Emeka.
It's really nice to have you. It's good to have had a lot of conversations with you, and I'm excited to have you on this Business Leader of the Week show today. You're welcome.
My pleasure.
You're welcome. So officially, I will get to meet you. I mean, I've met you before, but it's interesting if I get you and my audience to meet themselves. So let us meet Dr. Chidi.
Yeah, my name is Dr. Chidi Okpaloba. I trained as a veterinary surgeon by training, but by involvement, I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur involved in so many things: manufacturing, retail business, life coaching, an author, and a transformational coach.
You do all these things in one.
Yes,
of course.
That's why I call myself a multi-passionate entrepreneur. I have a passion for so many things. There are people that are multi-talented and multi-passionate, so they can't be tied into one particular thing. So my best comes out when I do a combination of things.
A lot of things.
I get bored when I do just one thing.
Interesting. So how long have you been in business generally?
You see, if I remember, I have been in business almost all my life because I started business as a student in the university.
Oh, interesting. So all your life, we can say, would be at least, like you mentioned, university. That's enough to mention all your life. Is there a story you want to tell us about your first exposure to business? I want us to get that touch. What's your first exposure to business itself?
Okay, my first exposure, my parents were businessmen. Okay. My mother, my dad, they were businessmen. So normally during the holidays, I go to their business places and try to help them do whatever they do. But my first personal experience in business started as a student in university. Okay. Like I usually tell people, you don't see what you are looking at, you see what you're looking for. What you're looking for is actually looking for you. When you're ready to see it, you're going to see it.
Interesting.
So in the university, as a student, I was looking for something to do as a student to make money, to augment whatever my parents were giving me. And one day during the holidays, we were sitting out, a couple of us from the University of Nigeria, Soka, were sitting out somewhere, and the young guy came in and said, buy ties, buy ties. We were talking neckties, men's ties. And someone said within us, oh, if you take this back to school, you're going to make money selling them. Every other person in that group didn't hear that because they were not looking for what to do to make money. Because I was looking for what to do to make money, I had it loud and clear that this was a prophetic statement towards me, an answer to the prayers I was been saying. Oh, I want to do something. I want to see what I can do as a student to make money. And this is what I tell people. Now, when you are in an environment, a lot of people in Nigeria can't see any opportunity in Nigeria because they're not looking for opportunities. They're looking for all the troubles in Nigeria. So and whatever you look for, you see so many of them. So I heard that statement and I took it inside immediately, internalized as my opportunity. Now, when I was going back to school, something that was what I call synchro destiny, something happened. A young man came again to the vehicle where we just boarded and said, buy ties, buy ties. And I remembered, if you take this back to school, you're going to make money.
Okay, so sorry to cut you. Let me get this straight. You were on holidays.
Yes.
At your parents.
Yes.
As a young man in school.
Exactly.
And then the conversation ensued about taking the ties back to school and making money.
Exactly.
And then you were at the point of returning to school after the holidays.
Exactly.
And apparently you had this man selling, you saw this other man selling ties at the park. Let's put it that
No,
way.
the first time we were still on holiday when I had the first encounter.
Yes.
But we weren't going back to school. On the day we were going back to school, that encounter came again. Another person entirely came.
At the park.
At the park. And said, buy ties, buy ties. Remember, I had this thing internalized that if I get back to, if you take this thing back to school, you're going to make money selling them. And those days, at the University of Nigeria and Soccer, all students in the medical sciences, biological sciences, pharmaceutical sciences, veterinary medicine are compulsorily required to wear at least a shirt and tie to lectures. So I saw those things. I used that, saw an opportunity. I bought some ties at 250 kobo each.
At the time?
At the time. That's 1990. 250 kobo each. I took it back to school.
So, how much was invested into the business?
I invested about 16 naira.
16 naira was the business.
In the business. Yeah, that was my pocket money I was going back to school with.
Yeah.
I used it to buy the ties. I got back to school. That same day was a Sunday. I got back to my room. My friends came to the room and said, "Oh, how are you? How was holidays? What did you bring back for us?"
What we all do.
Yes, I say, tomorrow's lecture, you need to look clean and neat and all that. These are the ties. Oh, beautiful ties. And then I sold 12 at 5 naira each.
That's 2x the original. You bought these ties at 250 kobo, and you sold at 5 naira.
At 5
so 2x the original price.
Yes, and I recovered my capital of 16 naira. That's how I became a businessman.
And then you still had some
I still had most of the ties still there.
So apparently, you stumbled into business out of what you wanted, what you were searching for.
You will not call it stumbling because I was searching for an opportunity.
Exactly.
Because what you are looking for is actually looking for you. The day you're ready, both of you will meet. That's what I call synchro destiny.
Interesting. Now, you talked about this is pure business.
Yeah.
It might sound really cliche and really easy to come by, but it is pure business. There was a research process. There was an internalizing the idea process. Now there was a purchase process, a sales process, and then profit after sales.
Yeah.
In all these processes you had to go through, what skills did you develop in the process in your business?
Of course, for the business, you have to develop the skill of knowing what is good. Fashion business requires some level of test that you know what is good, what people could like. Incidentally, I had this gift of selecting the best of things, both in terms of fabrics and materials. So
Obviously.
I was very good at that as a student then. I'll select the ties. When I select them, the ties are so good, come out very good, and people will buy them. Then there was a risk factor. Possibly I may not sell those ties. So someone would have been paralyzed by that risk.
Yeah.
What if you go back to school and you don't sell the ties? What are you going to do? Someone at that thought will stop.
True.
Most businesses die at this level.
At that very level.
Oh, what if nobody buys from me? As a matter of fact, there was a time when the business had already started growing. And I invited a friend of mine. I said, instead of staying at home every day during the holiday, why don't you come, let's go to the banks and see if we can sell this thing. He said, oh, no, me, a vet doctor, go to the bank and hawk ties. What if they say no? I said, if they say no, what has changed? Nothing has changed. I'm still Dr. Chidi or Chidi then. So nothing has changed. If they say no, this man says no, you go to the next person. You've not lost anything by someone saying no to you. They're saying no to the product you're selling. They're not saying no to your person. So be able to distinguish the two things and then let your head remain on your shoulders and then move on to the next place.
Interesting. So now you had the sole responsibility of running this business alone for a long time.
Yeah.
So what I really wanted to get out of this is, what did you learn as a skill that has helped you in future businesses moving on?
I will tell you, one of the most important skills you need to learn as a human being is you need to learn sales skills and communication skills.
Sales and communication.
Sales, communication, interpersonal skills.
Good.
These three skills, unfortunately, are not taught in the universities. They are the primary skills you need. It doesn't matter whether you're a medical doctor, whether you're a lab scientist, whether you are a computer guru, whatever you are, you need communication skills, interpersonal skills, and sales skills. Everybody's selling something. The pastor is selling the word of God. The imam is selling the word of Muhammad. You are selling something. Everybody's selling something. So your ability to convince the next person that you have something of value to give to the person is a skill. Every human being should develop a good sales skill.
Interesting. So over time, in other businesses that you run, how has sales and communication contributed?
I think it's one of my biggest assets is ability to talk to anybody. I had a challenge with somebody, and he told the next person, don't listen to Dr. Chidi, because if you give him the opportunity to talk to you, he'll convince you.
Should we see that as a good thing or a bad thing?
No, it's a very good quality.
Very good thing.
Why do in America politicians are known to be able to tell a story that resonates with you?
Yes.
So a
That's sales.
salesman should be able to tell a story that connects to the buyer, to the customer. When I was in that garment business, let me tell you, I sold to the best in the industry because you can't reject my product. I have a way of connecting to you, reaching deep into your being and establishing a connection between you and I that you see beyond picking those clothes, other things other than just buying from me.
I was just being curious to ask, did you grow beyond selling to students in that business?
Oh, sure. Okay. At a point when schools closed, in fact, there was a time when school closed, a long vacation.
Yeah.
It was 1991 then. One day I sat down and I said, why sitting down at home again doing nothing? Maybe I could go to the banks and see if they would buy my ties. So I took my
the same idea you pitched to your friend.
So I took I told my friend, that's the point I said, I wanted somebody to go with me. I said, my friend, this is that business I was doing in school. I was making money. Why don't you go and do it in the bank? Come and join me. He said, what if they say no? And incidentally, the first bank I entered, I met a young lady and I was talking to her about the ties. She asked me for the samples. I brought her, she looked at them. And she said something to me. She said, my boyfriend will not wear this kind of cheap ties.
How did that make you feel?
No, actually, I didn't feel discouraged. All I did was I asked her a question. Please, may I know the kind of ties your boyfriend would like to wear?
Great.
She said to me, my boyfriend wears only Christian Dior ties. And I said, if I get Christian Dior ties for you, will you buy them? She said, yes. I closed my market for the day. And I went to the market. Then it was in Aba, Ariara Market in Aba. I went to Ariara Market to look for Christian Dior ties. And I bought two. I went home. When I was going home, something spoke to me and said, Christian Dior is a man like you. If he did it, you can also do it. So I made a decision that I was going to reproduce the ties. So I went home and I studied the ties, losing every one of them up, and studied it and was able to reproduce them.
Oh, you branded your own
I
ties?
now reproduced my own ties and called it Chubok Creations. Chubok Creations.
At
that time. And I wrote it Chubok Creations, London, New York, Milan. London, New York, Milan. That's what I wrote it. That's what I put there. Now, I packaged the ties that you would never believe was made in Nigeria.
Interesting.
And by the time I did those ties like that, I began to look for bigger clients. Remember, I was selling my ties for 5 naira. Now I wanted to sell the ties at a better price.
Better rate.
So I went to the best shop in Aba those days called Newman Exclusive.
Sorry, sorry to cut you. We'll get back to this. Just quick one. How much did it cost you to produce one tie?
Now to produce the ones I used to buy was costing me about 2 naira 50 kobo. But this one was costing 3 naira each
for the complete
for
production.
the complete production.
What's the makeup of the complete? It's just
the tie comes with a pockerchief, a matching pockerchief. At that point in time, it was the first time you see a silk tie coming with a matching pockerchief. So it was an innovation. Great. It was something like different, a kind of regular disruption. Yes.
Okay, so please go ahead.
So when I did the ties, I produced them and I took them to this best men's exclusive shop in Aba to sell to the man called Newman Exclusive. And when I got to the man's shop, the man liked the ties, but he wasn't satisfied. He felt that this young man, he said to me, I'm sure you've not traveled out of the country before. So how did you get the ties? You must be an Aba boy that have made the ties in Aba. If I buy the ties from you, probably I'll see it everywhere in the market. I said, no, these are exclusive ties. I don't mass produce them and all that. While we're discussing this, like what I told you about Synchro Destiny, at that moment, the then governor of Imo State, Commodore Amadi Ikweche, drove in with his entourage into the premises of this boutique. And immediately he walked into the boutique, he saw the ties on the floor.
Okay.
So, wow, these are beautiful ties, lovely ties. How much are they? The man told him 150 naira each.
For a tie that
For a
cost
tie
you 3
that
naira
cost me
to
3 naira
produce.
to produce. But the man didn't know my cost price. So Amadi Kweche selected 5 ties and brought out 750 Cripsy naira notes and gave to
The owner of the
Lumen
store.
Exclusive, Eddie. When he left, you remember Eddie had not agreed to buy my ties.
At the time.
So I told him, well, since you didn't want to buy the ties, can I have
Can
the
I have
ties?
my money?
My money back. He now said, how much are your ties? I didn't know what to tell him, honestly. If I sold 5 naira, I would have made profit. If I've told 10 naira, I would have made profit. I told him 30 naira each. That's what came out of my mouth.
So you produced these ties for
At
3
3
naira.
naira.
You sold for 30 naira.
Yes.
10x the original price.
Exactly.
And I believe the price of the 5 that was sold at 30 naira should have
750
covered
naira.
for, should have covered for
the
your
cost
production.
of 150%.
It's interesting. Now, that business grew from being a buy in the market, sell to students, to brand a whole new product,
producing the ties
manufacturing
itself
and even selling
producing-
to
yes.
top tier citizens.
Exactly,
Let me put it that way.
exactly.
Interesting. You are learning a lot from Dr. Truba or Chidi Opalova. Now, it's been beyond an interview. It's more like a masterclass to me. And one thing I want us to pick up from this is he was studying vet medicine at the time, now a vet doctor, but has acquired sales skill. Of course, very important skill for everyone to acquire. That comes a long way to tell you, like I've always said on this show, that we are in the skills economy and no longer in the jobs economy. And one place you can get those skills is at www.daba.school. You get to learn a lot of skills that you can combine with your natural skills as a student or whatever you're doing and still make a living out of it. Affiliate marketing, cake baking, video editing, trade and make money, a lot of those courses. Visit www.daba.school and you get more details on that. We're going to go on a short break. And when we come back from this short break, I'm going to be talking to Dr. Chidi Okpaloba about his experience doing business in Nigeria, his lessons, his challenges, and what we all can learn from that. Stay with me. We'll be right back.
Guess what? The new and improved Dab app helps you learn courses at the go. Now you can learn with ease, buy a course for a friend, use coupons, refer an N, and make money online. Remember, the future is in your hands. Download the Dab mobile application today.
Welcome back from that short break and to this masterclass of an interview with Dr. Chidi Okpaloba. We've been talking his experience doing business, how passionate, how a multi-passionate businessman is with us here in the studio, telling us about his business experiences, and it's been an interesting ride so far. So, Dr. Chidi, we're now going to move to talking about your experience doing business here in Nigeria. It's been 30 years. At the least, it's been 30 years doing business here in a country like Nigeria, where things are exactly not getting easier. So let us know, what's your experience? How would you look at business here?
The system, the institutions of government in Nigeria does not support businesses. That's basically the
In the
truth.
plain
The
statement.
managers of these institutions are out there for themselves. That's the truth, looking for how to enrich their pockets. When one of the presidential candidates, P2B, was talking about creating the nation that works for all, that's actually what we should be looking for. The governments do not encourage businesses.
And that makes it difficult.
Yes, even
for
when the
businesses
government
to thrive.
creates policies that are pro-businesses, the managers and people that will execute those policies are actually there looking for money. I remember at a point in time, one of the government agencies had to seal my warehouse because I refused to compromise and give them money which they demanded for, which I felt was not justified. And they sealed my warehouse because of that. So it's challenging, but also where things are challenging, there are also opportunities. Even though it's never been this bad, and the last 7 years has been quite bad for businesses in Nigeria because you can't plan now. Now we are into manufacturing, you can't plan.
You don't know what happens in the next few
Every
weeks.
day there's a change. You do your price forecast, the next 24 hours,
Everything
everything
is crashing.
scatters. It starts all over again. You buy diesel at 800 naira a liter. You buy things, the raw materials, your raw material input is increasing. I don't even know where the MBS is getting their price, their inflationary figures from, because the inflation rate in Nigeria today,
It's crazy.
some of the products we were buying last year has increased by more than 200, 300%.
You're very
So I
correct.
don't know where they're getting 20, 30% inflation rate figure from.
You're very correct. Now, let's look at business generally, right? Beyond the current business you may be running, being a serial entrepreneur who's done businesses across time and decades, generally, what is a common business challenge that every business faces? And in your case, how have you been managing it?
Yeah, I think sometimes you see, sometimes even though growth could be good, growth can also be a very dangerous thing.
Interesting. I like the angle you're
Yeah, you
coming
can
from.
grow very fast. As a matter of fact, one of my businesses, I burnt myself that I lost a multi-billion business because I grew too fast. And then I got involved with a lot of wrong partners in that process that led to a lot of issues and problems. So when you grow, sometimes you could become very ambitious and you want to grow very fast. I was trying to create a multinational business and then began to get involved, bringing a lot of people on board who I didn't do due processes on and all that. And that created quite a lot of challenges. And we lost that amount of business that was worth billions.
Interesting. And moving on with that experience in the future, or in case there's any business person who's listening to this, how have you been managing it so that they have a lesson to
I
take
think
from it?
the most important factor in everything you do are the human beings you bring along with you. You need to be very careful, the people you work with, the people you recruit, and all that. I was told that Jim Ovia in those days in Zenith Bank insists on meeting anybody that worked with the bank because he knew what he was looking for. So he had to select the right people. So selection of the right team is number one factor in determining how far you go in business. If you, no matter how passionate you are, no matter how great the vision is, once you get the wrong team in place,
Everything
you're
could turn
going to
up.
go get things done.
True. Now, you mentioned a lot, you talked a lot about the businesses you did, and then you also mentioned that you are into personal development. I'm interested in your personal development project. What is your goal? I think this question came up. What is your goal every time you reach out to impact the
You
lives
see,
of people?
man is infinitely blessed, endowed with enormous power. Man, the potential of man is unimaginable. What man can do is unbelievable. But what most men end up doing is very pitiable.
Very
It's
limited.
very poor, very limited. Particularly in Africa, we have suffered centuries of miseducation that made us feel we are not good enough.
Good enough.
We are not equal to any other race. And let me tell you something. Your identity is what defines your reality. So my personal development goal is to help Africans see themselves as God sees every human being. That you are the master of your destiny. You can actually do anything you set your mind to do.
doing.
There's no power on earth that can stop a man whose mind is made up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you have any publications that have actually
Yes, I
started
have. I
this
have
particular
two
goal?
best-selling books.
Okay.
That have sold. My number one book is the book I call Life After School.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, that book I used to take around the universities to help the students bridge the gap.
Apparently, they happen to be the right audience for that.
Oh yes, Life After School. That book has sold more than 100,000 copies. For a book
Wow.
to sell 100,000 copies in Nigeria means that book is great.
You know,
100,000
that's true.
copies in Nigeria.
That's
Then
true.
I have another book called Go Force, which is a book aimed to help you know how to set goals, which is what I was telling you when we were having a discussion outside the studio, that the very critical things that are required for success in life are not taught in universities.
True.
Number one is how to set goals and achieve them. Number two is how to relate with human beings. As a matter of fact, Stanford University research confirmed that 87.5% of the wealth you make on earth depends on your ability to get along with other people. So relationship mastery, understanding how to relate with human beings is actually more important than even some of your primary skill you get. You understand? If you're a doctor, a medical doctor, the best surgeon on earth, and you don't have good relationship skills, you're going to fail in your practice. If you're a broadcaster, whatever you are, you need number one
that
skill you
particular
have
skill.
is that human relationship skill. That determines 87.5% of what you do. So one of the major things we do is to help people find themselves. Because the moment you find who you are and understand who you are able to relate with other people at a very different level.
Yeah, that moves me to want to know if there is any plans in the future to continue your, personal development content, or teachings to young
Oh,
ones out
sure,
there.
for sure. This is my life ambition. This is my life passion. This is why as a matter of fact, my purpose on earth is to make Africa become a pride of place on earth. I want to change the entire narrative of Africa. So every morning, I have a broadcast, a little 1 minute video, short video that about personal inspiration.
I think I got one for this
you
morning.
need a vitamin every morning, every day. Sometimes Nigerians talk about motivation. Let me tell you, if motivation is not good, why is it a multi-billion-dollar industry? Everybody needs a sort of motivation every single day to get up and go to the studio, to get up and go to the gym, to get up and go to work, to get up and do anything you require some level of motivation. So every morning I send out an inspirational video of about 30 seconds to 1 minute that can help you start the day.
Pick up the day and get at it. Great.
And then I'm about starting a program right now that will run for 15 minutes, 3-4 times a week on Daba Studios.
Of course, and I would like to officially say that we would have to be hosting Dr. Chidi Opaluba here on Daba TV. He's going to take us once in a week. You get that, how do I put it, that content that self-motivates you and puts you on the right track to do the right things at the right time. Dr. Chidi, we can't wait to really have you see you every week on Daba TV and do stuff together. Now, I have this question for you. Would you be addressing a crowd of 30,000 youths at a turning point in their lives? What would you tell them?
What I'll tell them is this: go deep within you and locate that your essence of being. Believe in that person you will locate and project that person to the world. Believe absolutely in yourself, because the world treats you the way you treat yourself. The world does not have time to interrogate or investigate whether you are who you say you are. It is who you say you are the world takes literally as who you are, and they treat you that way. I alter your personality to suit that dream you want to be. Begin to live that dream as if you already have achieved it. Don't wait until that thing comes. If you say, if I want to buy this car, the way you're going to feel when you buy this car, start feeling that now, and you see that car manifest.
Interesting. One very good phrase he said I've picked up is alter your personality.
Yes.
It's very simple as it is.
Because it creates your reality.
Requires
your personality, your identity creates your reality. There's no other thing. Once your identity does not change, your situation or reality remains the same.
Exactly, that's the truth. We've had a swell time with Dr. Chidi Opaluba here on Daba TV as the business leader of the week. We've had fun, we've talked business in Nigeria, we've talked about his story doing business, talked about personal development, and of course you are going to be seeing more of Dr. Chidi here on Daba TV on a weekly basis. Now, Dr. Chidi, you want to tell us how to find you every other place, social media?
Yeah, I'm on all the social media platforms. I use my name, Chidi Opaluba, at Twitter, Chidi Opaluba at Facebook, at Instagram, Reels, TikTok, every one of the social media platforms. Yeah,
okay.
I'm there.
So just the way the name is spelled.
Chidi Opaluba.
Chidi Opaluba.
Yes.
So of course, if you're watching this now, Dr. Chidi Opaluba has his socials as Chidi Opaluba, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You want to find him, search that name. It's going to be written on the screen, Chidi Opaluba, and then you can contact him and get in touch. This is it on today's episode of the Business Leader of the Week on Daba TV. But of course, I know you're waiting for that bonus session where we get to play. Talk a little less about business and self-motivation. Let's talk about some other random stuff. But we're going to do that when we come back from this short break.
Guess what? The new and improved Dab app helps you learn courses at the go. Now you can learn with ease, buy a course for a friend, use coupons, refer an N, and make money online. Remember, the future is in your hands. Download the Dab mobile application today.
You're welcome back from that break. This is the final lap on the Business Leader of the Week. This week with Dr. Chidi Opaloba, we've been talking business, personal development, and of course, Daba TV hosting that conversation. We're about to conclude this with the bonus session of this interview session. We're going to be having him on 4 questions. So, Dr. Chidi, we're going to go a little out of the norm and just talk, this question is just a bit to know you, a bit more personal. So the first question is, if you have an opportunity to create your own literal dream, I mean, we sleep and we dream, yeah, but we don't know what happened until we actually in the dream. If you have an opportunity to create your own dream, what would that dream be?
The dream is still the same thing, to bring about a new Africa.
Simple
A
and
new
short.
Africa where there is prosperity for all. I want to travel the world, telling the world the story of the African story, that Africa is not that cesspool of death and corruption and destruction. In Africa, even good things also happening in Africa.
True.
There are so many great things happening in Africa. I want to retell the African story, the African way. The man that miseducated you, the man that took you as a slave, the man that managed you as a slave, sold you as a slave, cannot be your best friend. It doesn't matter the best of intentions. He will always want to keep you where he wanted it to be. So it is the time Africans wake up and tell their stories by themselves. My passion and my life goal is to tell that African story to the whole world.
Changing the African
There is something new
perspective.
happening in Africa. There's greatness everywhere in Africa, the same way you have all over the world.
Interesting. Thank you very much for that response. And now we move to this question that, I mean, I think I've come across it with a lot of persons, but I would like to know, if you were to turn back the hands of time and go back to your teenage years, is there something you would want to change, or do better, or experience?
Yeah, I think like I told you, I think I would have started reading earlier. When I went to school, I only read to pass my exams. Even though, yes, I graduated with distinction, but I didn't read outside my course, that veterinary medicine. And that was very narrow and myopic, if I would say. But now, I think it was in 2001 that my life changed when I went to Lagos Business School. And I began to read. I took personal development as part of my lifestyle, that now I read every day. So I would have started learning these things earlier. We need to start teaching children. Our school curriculum needs to change. The most important things that determine your success factor in life are not taught in school. That's why sometimes people think school is scam. School is not scam. But because the curriculum does not take into consideration the basic tenets that are required for you to succeed, they don't show you those things. They teach you things that are not, I've never used most of those things that they taught me in school today. You understand? But the things I learned from reading are the things I'm using today. It doesn't matter the profession you belong to. You need to know how to relate with people. You need to know how to set goals. You need to know how to self-motivate yourself. You need to know how to do a couple of things. These things
are not taught
in school.
Permit me to quote Chris Annie here, who says the job of the future are no longer taught in school.
As a matter of fact, I just read something 2 days ago, that if you spend 8 years in a medical school in America, by the time you graduate, 50% of the things you learned are obsolete.
Not
in America. In Nigeria, I would say by the time you graduate, 90% of the things they taught you are obsolete.
Imagine. Well, then takes us to the next question. Now, by order of preference, according to Dr. Chidi, kindly make a pick. Which one will come first, second, and third for you? Love, humanity, humility.
You see, love is the center of everything. Once there is love, humanity comes in. Humility comes in. As a matter of fact, the defining principle of your life should be love.
Centered around love.
If your life is love-centered, everything else comes into play.
Better go and fall in love. Dr. Chidi has said it. You rather fall in love or you live with love.
No, not just falling in love because of the opposite sex. I mean,
you live with and fall in.
No, loving every human being unconditionally.
Conditionally.
Every human being. The other type of love where you that is sexually attracted to another sex is not what we mean. I mean, as you, Chris, as you are now, Emeka, everybody else, you love every human being as a human being, as you are, and treat them as you want to be treated, and respect them as you ought to be respected. And if you do that, there's going to be peace on earth.
Interesting.
There's going to be everything. In fact, that's part of the problem we have in Nigeria today, where our leaders try to divide us across ethnic and religious lines. But if there is love, love does not know religion. Love does not know ethnicity. Love knows only humanity.
Interesting. Reminds me of the golden rule, Matthew 7:12. You treat others how you want to be treated. Interesting. Now, let's take on the final question for today. What is a phobia you mostly don't talk about?
This is funny. Sometimes phobias don't have reason, don't have meaning. When we were young, we used to see rats around the house. And I became so afraid of rats that up to this adult age, when I see rats, that fear still comes to me. When I know I can actually match the rat on the head and kill it. Funny thing, I don't even fear snakes that are more dangerous than rats. I saw a matter of fact, I was a time we were taking a walk with my kids somewhere in a park, and the snake came across, and I matched the snake on the head and killed it. But if it were a rat to be rat, I would jump. Do you understand? Now, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't have meaning. I've tried to sit down to conquer that phobia, but it seemed to be deeply ingrained in my subconscious that the reaction is somehow automatic. You understand? So I don't know how I'm going to do it, but if a rat crosses here now,
this interview is over.
That flight mode.
Your first response is flight.
To run. That was what happened when I was just a kid, about 3-4 years old.
Interesting. What a ride it's been with Dr. Chidi Okpaloba. Now you know he's scared of rats. Now you know for him, love covers everything. And of course, he wants to make Africa a place to be recognized in the whole world. A serial entrepreneur, a very passionate businessman who's been doing business since his university years. And of course, let's not take away the fact that he is a vet doctor. One question, Dr. Chidi. Are you practicing vet now?
Oh, no, I've not practiced. Unfortunately, I only practiced veterinary medicine when I was doing my youth service.
Imagine.
Outside the youth service, I've not practiced. You see, the truth is that when you go to school, the school does not necessarily prepare
define you or your life.
As a matter of fact, I tell people, don't allow yourself to be held hostage by your course of study in university. As a matter of fact, feel free and go to school and study anything. It's just your person that is evolving. What you studied in school has most times no relationship to what you eventually do.
You're very correct. I agree with you because it's a similar case with a lot of persons, even myself, And the truth is school for me was just that stepping stone to see a lot more about life, learn a lot about myself.
It should be changed from getting all this unnecessary knowledge, the unnecessary information, I don't even call it knowledge, to bringing out the man in you.
In you, true.
You understand? Rebutting you into the man you ought to be. That's what school should be. Developing your consciousness to become a better human being so that the world could use you better in fulfilling the destiny of the world. That's what school should be.
Great.
Every other thing, you can go to school and read any course, it doesn't matter. You understand? The most important thing is that, did you evolve? I ask people this question: what is your rate of self-evolution? At what rate are you evolving? Are you becoming a better person every day? Because if you're not becoming better, you're actually becoming obsolete.
Of course.
That should be the essence of school. Become a better person every single day.
Interesting, Dr. Chidi. We're already having a session of our personal development class already. I know you can't wait to get the full version of Dr. Chidi every week here on Daba TV. And first off, we're hosting him here as our guest on the Business Leader of the Week, and subsequently you get to enjoy his shows. You want to tell us the name of the show coming up here on Daba TV?
Transformation Series with Dr. Chidi.
Transformation Series with Dr. Chidi. That's happening here very soon on Daba TV, and it's been a nice time on this show with you, Dr. Chidi. We're we're really happy and excited that beyond an interview, this has been a masterclass and a learning session for a lot of the persons who are seeing this. We hope to see more of you, Dr. Chidi.
Thank you, Mecca.
It's a nice time. So this is still Daba TV. Do not forget to share, subscribe, follow, make a comment, ask questions down below on the comment section, and we get to enjoy more of these interviews. Next week when we come your way, we're having a different guest, a different topic, a different session. But subsequently, you'll see more of Dr. Chidi. I'm Emeka Eze. See you next time.